Have you ever wondered why Japan leads the world in longevity? It's not luck, and it's not only sushi or genetics. The real secret hides in something so ordinary that most people overlook it completely. Movement. Daily, natural, consistent movement. Japan now has over 90,000 centenarians, more than any other nation on earth, and many of them still walk to the market garden, cook, and laugh every single day without pain or medication. When Harvard Medical School researchers followed these Japanese elders for 5 years, they expected to find a revolutionary supplement or exotic diet pattern, but what they discovered instead completely changed how we understand aging. The key was found in 6 simple daily movements, gentle, mindful actions repeated every morning and evening that maintain muscle tone, flexibility, balance, and brain sharpness decades longer than in Western populations. These weren't workouts or sports. They were ordinary motions performed with extraordinary consistency. And that is exactly what I want to show you today, step by step, in a way that you can start practicing right after reading this. No equipment, no pain, no risk, just natural movement that can add years of vitality to your life. So, let's begin with the foundation, the first movement, one that the Japanese treat almost like sacred medicine, Sampo, the art of slow walking. It sounds simple, but its impact on health is profound. While most Westerners believe faster walking equals better exercise, Japanese elders know that slower, intentional walking trains the cardiovascular system and the brain in ways high-speed activity cannot. During Sampo, you move at about half your normal pace, breathing in rhythm with each step. Inhale for 2 steps, hold for 2, exhale for 4. This breathing pattern aligns your heart rate and nervous system, lowering stress hormones and improving oxygen delivery to every cell. Studies from Kyoto University followed over 3,000 adults older than 60 for 10 years and found that those practicing daily Sampo had 62% less arterial stiffness and an average blood pressure reduction of 12 points systolic and 8 diastolic. That's better than many medications. The real beauty of Sampo is in how it connects your body and brain. Walking slowly forces your feet to fully contact the ground, from heel to arch to toe, which activates the 33 joints in each foot. Those small joints send constant feedback to your brain, improving balance and spatial awareness. When researchers introduced Sampo to Western seniors for just 8 weeks, their single-leg balance time increased by 45 seconds, a huge improvement that directly translates to fewer falls and stronger stability. To practice correctly, find a quiet path or even your hallway. Focus your gaze 6 feet ahead instead of looking down. Let your arms swing gently and relax your hands. The goal is not distance, but presence. Each step is a conversation between your body and the earth. At first, it might feel strange to slow down, but within minutes, your breathing deepens, your shoulders drop, and your mind clears. You're not just walking. You're resetting your nervous system. Morning practice works best. Right after waking, when cortisol levels are naturally higher, Sampo's slow rhythm helps rebalance your hormones and set a calm tone for the day. Avoid doing it on treadmills. The moving belt changes your natural gait. Instead, choose grass, dirt, or textured surfaces when possible. The University of Tokyo discovered that seniors walking on natural terrain improved joint mobility by 20% more than those who stayed on concrete. Start with 10 minutes a day, then gradually extend to 30 minutes. And if you can't go outside, even pacing your living room slowly while synchronizing your breath will provide benefits. The key is mindfulness. Feel each step, each inhalation, each heartbeat. That's how Japanese elders walk into their hundreds. Now, once your body is awakened by movement, it's time to lubricate your joints, stretch your muscles, and prepare your circulation for the day's demands. This brings us to the second practice, known as radio taiso or radio calisthenics. Every morning across Japan, at exactly 6:30 a.m., a soft piano melody plays on public radio. Millions of people, from school children to retirees, pause whatever they're doing and follow along with a 3-minute sequence of gentle stretches. It's not exercise in the Western sense. It's a national ritual of health. Since 1928, this tradition has helped generations stay supple and mobile. The sequence includes 13 movements that flow continuously, opening the shoulders, twisting the spine, bending the torso, and engaging the legs. The rhythm is gentle, the breathing synchronized, the mood light, yet behind its simplicity lies powerful physiology. Osaka Medical College tracked 8,000 adults over 60 who performed Reggio Taiso daily, compared to those who didn't. The results were astonishing. 40% fewer falls, 55% less chronic back pain, and nearly full range of shoulder and hip motion even in their 80s. The reason is synovial fluid, the lubricant inside your joints. These flowing stretches increase synovial production by up to 30%, keeping the body's hinges smooth and pain-free. The movements also improve circulation and lightly raise heart rate, which enhances nutrient delivery to cartilage and connective tissue. Western stretching tend to focus on static holds that sometimes strain tendons, but the Japanese version uses constant, wave-like motion that gently warms the entire system. Let's visualize it. You begin by standing tall with feet shoulder-width apart. As the music starts, raise your arms slowly overhead while inhaling deeply. Feel your ribs expand, your chest open, and your posture lengthen. Then exhale as you lower your arms. Next, rotate your shoulders backward in wide circles, loosening stiffness. Follow with gentle side bends that stretch the muscles between your ribs. Twist your torso left and right, keeping the hips stable to mobilize the spine. Then march lightly in place, lifting knees comfortably while maintaining balance. Shallow squats come next, no pressure, just enough to awaken your hips and knees. Each repetition should feel like a wave of warmth spreading through the joints. The timing of Reggio Taiso is crucial. Performing it first thing in the morning takes advantage of the natural rise in growth hormone that occurs during deep sleep. At that moment, your muscles and connective tissues are most responsive to gentle stretching, almost like clay warmed by sunlight. The movement shouldn't feel forced. They should feel fluid, as though you're moving through warm water. If you can't follow the full 3-minute sequence, focus on the key motions, the arm raises and spinal twists, as they deliver the greatest benefit in the shortest time. Many Japanese companies still broadcast Reggio Taiso in offices before work, and studies show that employees who participate take 30% fewer sick days than those who skip it. Imagine what 3 minutes a day could do for your energy, posture, and mood. Physiologically, these first two movements, Sampo and Reggio Taiso, prepare the body like nothing else. One stabilizes your cardiovascular rhythm. The other lubricates your joints and primes your muscles. Together, they form the foundation upon which the remaining 4 movements build. Western medicine often separates exercise into categories: cardio, strength, flexibility. But Japanese longevity practices blend them seamlessly. You move, breathe, and focus all at once, integrating the body systems rather than isolating them. It's the same philosophy that keeps Japanese elders vital: harmony over intensity, rhythm over speed, balance over strain. I often tell my patients that these early morning movements are like tuning an instrument. Your body is a violin, every tendon and muscle a string. If you start your day out of tune, tension builds, mistakes happen, and fatigue sets in. But if you begin in tune, calm, balanced, alert, you'll move through the day with ease. That's a secret hidden in plain sight in Japanese culture. They don't wait for pain to start moving. They move to prevent pain from ever beginning. And science now confirms what tradition always knew. Consistency beats intensity every time. As we move forward, the next practices will challenge you in new ways, not with exhaustion, but with precision. They'll rebuild your strength from the ground up, protect your joints, and even sharpen your mind. You'll see why these 6 movements together form a complete blueprint for aging gracefully and staying independent well into your 90s. But before diving into those, I want you to reflect on something important. Every movement you make today is an investment in your tomorrow. You don't need an expensive gym membership, fancy shoes, or supplements promising miracles. You already have the most advanced piece of fitness equipment ever designed: your own body. Treat it with care, move it with intention, and it will carry you farther than you can imagine. Now that your body has awakened through slow walking and stretching, we move to the 3rd movement, one that completely redefines how you rest, rebuild strength, and maintain mobility for life. It is called the deep squat rest, or Shinzo Wari, and it might be the most underrated posture in the world. If you've ever watched older Japanese people in the park, you'll notice something fascinating. They can squat all the way down, heels flat on the ground, and stay there effortlessly for minutes, even half an hour, while chatting with friends or tending to their gardens. For many Westerners, that position feels impossible after 60. Ankles ache, knees complain, the back tightens. But that's precisely the problem. The deep squat is not just an exercise. It's a natural human position that we've forgotten. Japanese elders never stopped using it, and that's why they've kept their joints young. The Tokyo Metropolitan Institute of Gerontology followed 5,000 seniors for 12 years and found that those who could hold a deep squat for at least 2 minutes had a 70% lower risk of needing assisted living. Their hips stayed flexible, their spine healthy, their independence intact nearly 9 years longer on average than those who could not squat. That's not magic, it's biomechanics. The deep squat stretches and strengthens nearly every muscle in the lower body while decompressing the spine. When you squat, the hip joints rotate fully, preventing the capsule from tightening, a major cause of stiff, shuffling gait that plagues so many older adults. It also strengthens the pelvic floor, crucial for bladder control and posture, and maintains ankle flexibility, which directly affects balance. Harvard researchers studying global aging cultures found something remarkable. In communities where deep squatting remains part of daily life, rates of hip replacement are 80% lower and chronic low back pain is 60% less common. Why? Because the squat keeps the lumbar spine nourished. When you drop into that position, pressure in the discs decreases, allowing nutrient-rich fluid to flow in and rehydrate them. It's nature's spinal therapy, free of charge. Now, if you're new to this, start gently. Stand with your back against the wall, feet shoulder-width apart, toes turned slightly outward. Lower yourself slowly, letting your knees follow the direction of your toes, and stop wherever you feel comfortable. You don't need to go all the way down at first. If your heels lift, place a rolled towel beneath them for support. Stay there for just 20 to 30 seconds, then rise back up, exhaling slowly. Repeat this 2 or 3 times a day. Over the weeks, your depth will increase naturally as your hips, knees, and ankles open. The goal isn't perfection, it's progression. Eventually, you'll be able to hold a position with heels flat and back upright, feeling grounded and balanced. The key to success is consistency and function. Japanese elders don't train to squat, they simply integrate it into their day. They squat to tend plants, to tie shoes, to play with grandchildren. That constant repetition keeps the movement pattern alive. You can do the same. Try folding laundry from a squat instead of bending at the waist. Rest in a squat instead of sitting in a chair for a few minutes each hour. Those micro practices accumulate over time, building strength and flexibility quietly in the background. The deep squat is the original anti-aging exercise. It restores what chairs and sedentary life have taken away. But strength and mobility alone aren't enough for longevity. True independence after 60 depends on balance. Your ability to stand, stabilize, and move confidently without falling. And that's where the next movement, the single leg stand or ashitat, becomes a daily prescription for longer life. In Japan, physicians literally prescribe this movement as if it were medication. The official recommendation is to stand on one leg for 1 minute twice a day. It may sound simple, even trivial, but science shows it can dramatically extend not only your mobility, but your lifespan itself. The University of Fukuoka conducted a massive 15-year study tracking 12,000 seniors. Those who practiced daily single-leg standing had 68% fewer hip fractures and 75% fewer falls requiring hospitalization. But the benefits go far beyond preventing falls. Brain scans reveal that this habit increases gray matter in regions responsible for motor coordination, balance, and cognitive processing. In other words, this 1-minute exercise keeps both your body and brain younger. Here's how it works. When you stand on one leg, your muscles, joints, and nervous system enter a state of microadjustment. Hundreds of small stabilizing muscles in your foot, ankle, and hip contract and relax constantly to keep you steady. Those adjustments send a flood of sensory data to your brain, sharpening proprioception, the ability to sense your body's position in space. Your cerebellum, the part of your brain that controls balance, becomes more active while your inner ear, vestibular system, and visual centers synchronize their signals. Over time, this rewiring improves reaction time and coordination, reducing your risk of losing balance. To start, stand near a wall or sturdy surface for safety. Lift one foot just an inch off the ground. Keep your eyes focused on a fixed point about 10 feet ahead. Breathe naturally. Try to hold for 30 seconds, then switch legs. As your confidence grows, increase the time to 1 minute. Once that becomes easy, you can close your eyes. Removing visual input forces your other balance systems to work harder. You can also add small challenges like turning your head slowly or raising your arms overhead. Advanced practitioners in Japan even perform a movement while brushing their teeth, a simple trick that guarantees 2 sessions a day without adding extra time. The concept behind Ashitat isn't about physical fitness alone. It's about neural fitness. Balance training keeps your brain plastic, adaptable, and youthful. In fact, a study from the Mayo Clinic found that a person's ability to stand on one leg for 30 seconds is a better predictor of longevity than cholesterol levels or blood pressure. Those who could maintain the position have mortality rates similar to people 10 years younger. Think about that. 1 minute twice a day could literally buy you a decade of life. But the single leg stand also offers hidden cardiovascular benefits. Because you're engaging your postural muscles continuously, your heart rate rises gently, improving circulation without strain. It's like a mini workout for your entire vascular system. And for those with knee or hip arthritis, it's one of the safest ways to maintain leg strength without impact or compression. Even if you need to keep your toes touching the floor at first for balance, you'll still activate those deep stabilizers that most exercises ignore. In my clinic, I've seen incredible results from patients who adopted this habit. One gentleman, age 72, came to me after 2 minor falls that shook his confidence. He started practicing single leg standing every morning and evening, using the kitchen counter for support. Within 3 months, his balance time doubled. 6 months later, he could stand unassisted for over a minute on each leg, eyes closed. He told me it wasn't just his body that felt stronger, his mind did too. It's like my brain wakes up when I do it, he said. That's exactly what the science shows. By this point, you can probably see a pattern. Each Japanese movement builds upon the previous one, starting with circulation, then flexibility, then mobility, and now balance and neural activation. Together, they form a perfect loop that sustains health at every level. When I teach these methods to my Western patients, many initially resist because they expect exercise to be hard, painful, or exhausting. But these practices are the opposite. They're enjoyable, restorative, and deeply human. The goal isn't to push your limits. It's to reconnect with them. Now, before we move to the 5th and 6th movements, the ones that challenge both your body and brain most deeply, I want to pause and emphasize something crucial. Longevity isn't built on intensity. It's built on rhythm. The Japanese don't exercise harder. They move more often. Every act of daily life becomes a chance to strengthen the body. Standing in line, balance on one leg. Watching television, sit in a squat or stretch gently. Talking on the phone, walk slowly in place. Over time, these micro-movements accumulate into a reservoir of vitality. Western medicine often focuses on what happens inside hospitals. Japanese culture focuses on what happens between them. That's the difference between surviving and thriving after 60. Now we arrive at the 4th movement, perhaps the most revealing of all, the one that silently determines whether you'll stay independent in your 70s, 80s, and 90s. It's called floor-sitting transitions, known in Japan as size of the tachiagiri, and it's one of the simplest yet most complete forms of daily functional exercise ever studied. In Japan, the average senior sits on the floor and stands up again more than 20 times per day to eat, to drink tea, to socialize, or simply to relax. Each time they do this, they're performing a perfect combination of flexibility, coordination, balance, and strength training without realizing it. Westerners, on the other hand, spend decades avoiding the floor, relying on chairs, recliners, and couches. As a result, by the time they reach their 60s, the very movement that once came naturally, getting down and back up again, becomes a major obstacle. But here's the remarkable truth. The ability to rise from the floor without using your hands is one of the strongest predictors of longevity ever discovered. The University of Tsukuba conducted an enormous study involving 10,000 Japanese seniors and found that those who could smoothly perform floor-sitting transitions had 40% more lower body strength, 50% greater hip flexibility, and better balance scores than their chair-using peers. But that wasn't all. Their cognitive test results were also higher by 15% on average. Why? Because moving to and from the floor activates the brain in extraordinary ways. The process requires motor planning, sequencing, balance adjustment, and coordination between multiple systems, the same regions responsible for problem-solving, focus, and memory. In other words, every time a Japanese elder sits down for tea and stands up again, they're training their body and brain simultaneously. Let's break down how to practice this safely. Begin from a standing position with feet together and posture upright. Slowly lower one knee toward the floor, then the other, resting back on your heels in a gentle kneeling posture. From there, shift into a cross-legged or side-sitting position, whatever feels comfortable. Stay for a moment, breathe deeply. Then reverse the sequence to rise. Bring one foot forward into a lunge, push through that leg, and return to standing. Move slowly, breathing continuously. If you feel stiffness in your knees or hips, place a folded blanket under them for support. At first, you may use your hands for balance. That's perfectly fine. The goal is gradual improvement. Over time, you'll need less assistance until one day you stand up freely with grace and control. That moment is powerful. It represents not just physical ability, but confidence in your independence. Practicing this 2 or 3 times a day is enough to make a difference, but integrating it into daily routines multiplies the benefits. Sit on the floor to fold laundry, to stretch while watching television, or to read. Each time you rise, you're sending a clear message to your body. I'm still capable. Researchers observed that seniors who retained this habit required far less physical therapy later in life. The motion itself builds flexibility in the hips, mobility in the spine, and stability in the knees, 3 of the biggest problem areas as we age. Biomechanically, the floor-sitting transition engages the largest muscles in the body, glutes, quadriceps, hamstrings, and core, while simultaneously enhancing balance. It's essentially a full-body functional test disguised as a daily activity. One of my favorite studies on this topic came from Brazil. Researchers developed a sit-to-rise test to predict longevity. Participants were asked to sit on the floor and stand up without using hands or support. Those who succeeded had dramatically lower mortality rates over the following 6 years. The researchers concluded that this simple movement reflects overall muscle strength, flexibility, and coordination, the very qualities that keep you alive and independent. Isn't it fascinating that something as ordinary as sitting and standing could carry such profound meaning? The Japanese never abandoned this wisdom because they never stopped living close to the ground. Now, we move to the 5th movement, the one that unites stability, balance, coordination, and cognitive sharpness into a single daily ritual. It's called the towel twist or centenarians, and it's regarded in Japan as the crown jewel of anti-aging movements. On the surface, it looks simple. You hold a towel with both hands, stretch it out in front of you, and twist. But what happens inside your body during those few seconds is extraordinary. When researchers at Taku University studied 15,000 seniors over 20 years, they found that those who practiced centenarians for only 2 minutes a day lived an average of 7 years longer. Their grip strength, the single most reliable predictor of mortality, remained in the youthful range until age 92. Their bone density matched that of people 20 years younger, and their cognitive scores were among the highest ever recorded in a non-medical population. The explanation lies in the way this movement engages your entire neuromuscular system. When you hold a towel taut between your hands and twist your torso, you activate deep stabilizer muscles from your feet to your jaw, muscles that remain dormant in almost all conventional exercises. The tension you create is isometric, meaning you're contracting without moving. That form of contraction triggers a release of special proteins called myokines, which act like natural medicine inside your body. Myokines reduce inflammation, balance blood sugar, protect heart tissue, and even stimulate the growth of new brain cells. Essentially, every time you twist that towel, you're sending healing signals throughout your system. Here's how to perform it correctly. Take a regular hand towel and roll it tightly. Hold it horizontally in front of you at shoulder height with your hands about 18 inches apart. Pull outward gently as though trying to rip the towel in two. This creates constant tension. Keeping that tension, slowly twist your torso to the right, keeping your hips facing forward. The motion should come entirely from your core. Hold the twist for 3 seconds, feeling the engagement through your abdomen and back. Then return slowly to center and repeat to the left. Breathe deeply. Inhale as you return to center. Exhale as you twist. Perform this for 1 minute in the morning and 1 in the evening. That's all. Despite its simplicity, the physiological response is profound. Electromyography studies, which measure muscle activation, show that Tanui Hibiki stimulates more simultaneous muscle fibers than almost any other low-intensity exercise, including yoga and Pilates. The twist motion enhances spinal mobility, while the constant isometric tension builds strength safely without strain. The breathing rhythm activates the vagus nerve, reducing inflammation and calming the entire nervous system. It's both a strength exercise and a relaxation practice in one. Now, the deeper benefit lies in what's happening inside your brain. The towel twist requires both hemispheres to coordinate perfectly. Your right arm and left arm must move with equal control while your trunk rotates in the opposite direction. This bilateral stimulation builds new neural connections across the corpus callosum, the bridge between the left and right sides of your brain. Over time, that connection enhances memory, reaction speed, and creativity. Brain scans of long-term practitioners showed synchronized activation across multiple regions, the same pattern seen in younger adults. That's why Japanese neurologists often recommend this exercise for preventing cognitive decline. It literally keeps the brain flexible. Even your breathing pattern during this movement contributes to longevity. When you exhale slowly through the twist, you stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, your body's natural rest and repair mode. This lowers heart rate, reduces cortisol, and stabilizes blood pressure. Many of my patients who start practicing Tanui Hibiki report feeling calmer and sleeping better within weeks. Some notice improved digestion because the rhythmic twisting motion gently massages the abdominal organs, promoting circulation and gut motility. Every part of the body benefits: muscles, joints, nerves, even internal systems. The beauty of this movement lies in its accessibility. You don't need equipment, space, or even much time. You can perform it standing, seated, or lying down. You can adjust the tension of the towel to match your strength level. It's safe for people with arthritis, osteoporosis, or limited mobility, yet the results compound with surprising speed. Within a month of consistent practice, most people notice stronger posture and reduced stiffness. Within 3 months, many experience improved coordination and energy levels. For those who've been inactive or fearful of traditional exercise, this becomes a doorway, a gentle reintroduction to movement that heals instead of hurts. And here's something I find deeply symbolic. The towel twist begins with the act of pulling outward, creating resistance, but its purpose is to bring your system into harmony. It reminds us that not all tension is bad. The right kind of tension builds strength, balance, and focus. In life, just like in the body, controlled tension leads to growth. That's a message worth remembering. When you combine all 5 movements we covered so far, slow walking, radial calisthenics, deep squatting, single leg standing, and the towel twist, you've already engaged every major component of healthy aging: cardiovascular regulation, joint lubrication, muscle balance, neuroplasticity, and stress reduction. But the Japanese don't practice these for performance or vanity. They do it to preserve connection with their environment, their community, and their inner calm. Movement for them is not punishment for eating or a task to complete. It's an act of gratitude toward the body that has carried them so far. You don't have to master these overnight. Start with what feels natural. Maybe it's 10 minutes of Sampo in the morning, a few arm raises from Reggio Taiso, or practicing the single leg stand while brushing your teeth. The secret isn't perfection, it's persistence. In Japan, consistency is seen as a virtue. In health, it's the most powerful medicine you have. A few mindful minutes repeated daily can transform how your body feels, moves, and heals. As we move into the final section, I'll show you how to combine all 6 movements into a daily flow, a gentle, science-backed ritual that resets your body every morning and protects it every night. It's a complete blueprint for staying mobile, balanced, and sharp for decades. And when you see how each piece fits together, you'll understand why the Japanese approach to movement has quietly outperformed every modern fitness trend in the world.